Real Youth, and welcome to this week's edition of Zeal, His Fire Consumes Us. I hope and I pray that last week's episode was encouragement and a great starting point for this journey that we're entering on. This week on Zeal, we're going to be talking about how can I build my fire for the Lord, something inside of us. So when I think of a fire, I think of a match. That's the first thing I think when I'm building a fire. I need a match. So I've got a box of matches here, as you can obviously see. And that one match, that's us. So that represents us in this whole situation I'm going to be talking about today. It represents our walk. Maybe we've had something, an encounter with the Lord. Maybe we've had an answered prayer. Maybe we've just had a great message on Sunday or on a Friday night from Philip or one of the leaders of youth. And we're just really on fire for the Lord. But if we light the match, it goes out fairly quickly, especially if there's a bit of wind. Or if I just hold it here, what's going to happen to that? It's going to either burn my fingers or it's going to go out really quick. And the same as us. If we don't do anything with our match, with our fire, it's going to go out straight away. So, how do we build a fire so that this match can turn into a massive roaring blaze? I reckon the first thing is you need kindling to start the fire. Something to get it going and then catch onto the wood, because that's the main source, yeah? And the third thing that we need is a nice dry environment, and generally not too windy. So we'll see how we go today. It's a little bit windy out here, but you'll get what I'm trying to get across. We've talked about the matches and what they represent. Now, what does the kindling represent? The kindling represents something that's going to be wholesome, something that's going to give us a little bit of entertainment on this short phase until we can really get into reading the Word, which is the Word. We'll get into that a little bit later. But something like listening to good music, making sure that we're feeding ourselves good things on social media and stuff like that, making sure we're not bombarding ourselves with rubbish on TikTok. Nothing wrong with TikTok, but making sure it's the right things on TikTok or Instagram. So it's got the kindling. We put then the fire with our wood, as I said before. And it's really important for the wood to be in there. If there's no wood, then there's no long sustaining of the fire. It's just going to go out nice and quickly, because if I light a piece of paper on fire, it's going to go out nice and quickly like the match. But having the wood, once that catches on fire, it's going to really go for the all night. It's going to keep going and going and going. And that's the same with the Word of God. When we read it, that keeps our fire going. As it says in Psalm 119 verse 5, it says, "Your words are a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." And that's what we're talking about, fire, that's light, yeah? So the word of the Lord is like the wood, the light guiding us. So it's so important to make sure we're consistent in that, because if we're not consistent with our Bible reading, we put one log on there, what happens when that log runs out? The fire goes out, doesn't it? So it's so important to make sure we have the right amount of wood in there and we're constantly feeding it, because if we don't keep feeding our fire, we're going to go out just like it did before. So making sure that we have wood in there as well to keep that fire going, making sure it's consistent, daily Bible reading to keep yourselves going from day to day, because some things are going to happen, and if we don't put the wood in there, it's going to run out. The third place we want is a nice dry environment. So today's a bit wet, so I'm undercover, and it's a little bit windy, but we'll see how we go. So we want to light a match and throw in our fire and see what happens to that fire. We've got paper in there, there's kindling. That looked like it didn't work. But you get what I'm saying, yeah? We want to light the match. We want to get kindling on fire. We want to... I broke the match. We want to really try and catch something on fire in there. So we want to see if there's a bit of fire in there. I've caught the kindling, but we want to see if that can catch on. We really want to build our fire. If our fire doesn't catch on, then what's going to happen? It's really important to have that nice, warm, safe place, like youth group, like a church, with people around you who are going to support you on your journey. People who know the Word of God, people who are going to help you, encourage you on your journey when you go through it tough. Like it says in Hebrews 10:25, it says, "Let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of His return is near." So there's three things that we need to do. With our spark, once we have our match, there's three things that we want to be doing. There's a little bit of fire in this, that's good, it worked. The three things we want to do to get our roaring fire. The first thing is we're making sure we're listening to good, godly music and wholesome entertainment which surround us in the short term to get our fire going. The second thing is making sure we have daily Bible reading, which is the wood, which is really going to sustain us for the long run. And the third thing is making sure that we're sustaining ourselves with godly people, putting ourselves around godly people, surrounding ourselves with Christians to keep spurring you on no matter what situation you're facing. So I really hope this has encouraged you, this has helped you out a little bit on your walk to keep your fire burning and to encourage you as we go from day to day life. Until next time, we'll see you guys on Zeal. Have a great week and we'll see you on Friday.